Coming up.
That is a good visualization right there.
We got to get you over to the White House.
Oh, even I hated that end line.
We'll just have to look complete tits.
I might leave all of that mistake in.
I'm overexcited because I got somebody who likes audiobooks.
There's nowhere where you can go where you see jobs.
It's just words.
How do you say that?
I don't really apologise at all for dragging you down here.
How do you get over that? How do you get round that? How do you get past that?
Establish your own rules and stay consistent.
I haven't felt as nervous about approaching a script for quite some time.
But.
Digging my audio grave.
Let's see if 2025 is any different, Sam. Who knows? And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that? Hello and welcome to How Do You Say That, sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. Here's my co-host, it's Sam Boffin.
Yes, hello. And this is my co-host, Mark Rice.
And we get together every week to chat about scripts, voice acting, and how to get, well, hopefully, even better at what we do.
Yes, and we do that not by talking to each other, but by inviting a special guest to chat about it with us. And
Indeed.
This is the podcast for voiceovers and everyone who works with voiceovers.
So, Sam, let's play True or False. I'm going to tell you a story. Tell me whether I'm lying or not.
Oh, a whole story.
When I first interviewed Take That, the pop band Take That, Robbie Williams was so disruptive that we had to stop the interview. True or false?
It sounds highly possible.
That's the joy of true or false, really, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. It sounds highly possible. Did you stop the interview? I can't imagine that you would not have been able to turn that interview round. So I'm going, no, you didn't stop the interview.
Oh,
False.
You're right. But I was this close. There is truth in it because I was this teeny tiny close because he was being really disruptive. And I knew at that point that he was the standout member of the kind of personality in that band. That was like even before they were famous. That's quite funny. So have you got a true or false for me?
I have, Mark. So when I read books of short stories to myself, just read them.
Yeah.
I read them out of order and pick and choose randomly. Oh. Is that true or false?
Yeah, I can see you doing that. I think that is probably true.
Yeah, you know me too well. Yes, it is. It's exactly how I read them.
Excellent.
And then you often get a sort of lovely surprise at the end when you think you've finished and then you go, oh, but no, I haven't read that little story in the middle.
Oh, nice.
It's very exciting. Anyway.
Well, let's welcome our special guest for today, voiceover and actor Liam Gerrard. Hello, Liam.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Sam, let's find out a bit more about Liam, shall we?
Yes. Liam is a multi-award-winning actor, commercial voiceover, audiobook narrator and producer known as the Voiceover Chap. Earlier this year, he was nominated for an Audi Award in LA for an audiobook, get this, he transcribed, edited, narrated and published through his publishing company, Raconteurs Audio, and he was also a Vox finalist this year for Producer of the Year.
Well, he can currently be heard on TV in commercials for Deliveroo and throughout the country on local and national radio, and also records games and corporates. His regular clients include Apple in the States, BP, HMRC, boo, the EU central government body and Amazon. He's recorded over 250 audiobooks, and no doubt we'll be touching on that during the podcast. He also lectures in voiceover production at numerous universities and drama schools. He currently appears as the guest lead in 4 episodes of season 5 of Odd Squad on PBS in America and the BBC. Fantastic stuff. So, Liam, what's your true or false fun fact?
Okay, so I once performed a card trick for the President of the United States.
Oh. That is so outrageous, I'm going to say it has to be true. What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, I'll go with you. I think it's true.
We both think it's true?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Tell us the story.
Wow.
It was George Bush Sr., who former presidents are still referred to as the president,
yes,
right?
They are.
Yes. So it was when I was living in Dubai. I was the resident magician at the Burj Al Arab and Burj Khalifa hotels. You know the hotel on the island.
Anything you don't do. My God, you're a magician as well. Wow.
Yeah. And I was the resident magician there.
How cool.
And he came in with all his what do they call it? His security,
entourage?
His security detail.
Yeah.
And they were staying at the hotel and got invited to go over there and and do a trick there. So
Wow.
I did, yeah. He didn't stand up and shake my hand and go, "Hoopla, we
what
got to
a
get you over to
shame.
the White House." It was just kind of,
He's
here's
amazing.
the entertainment, now move along. Seen it all before.
Well, I'm going to say, abracadabra, let's look at the first script of our show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
So this is a little corporate script I worked on recently.
It looks to me quite medical in a way.
Well, it's sort of medical. It's actually
Okay.
beauty.
Ah.
Yeah, kind of science and beauty mixed.
Oh, okay.
Is what
So
it is,
the
actually.
hyaluronic acid end of the market.
It's an internal.
I'm suspecting it's quite inspirational, bold, passionate, pioneer, that kind of stuff.
Well, kind of. I mean, it's my version of inspirational, let's be honest, but which is usually quite, what's the word, pared down.
Internal helps. If it's
Yes.
internal, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels inspirational, I think, is probably
Yeah.
would be what I would sort of say
Okay.
about it. Oh, the other thing that might be interesting for you to know, this is the close of it.
Oh.
Ah.
So you've already explained.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, Liam, I'll have a go at it first, and I suspect
Okay.
I'll go too big, and then Sam will go, no, all too big, all too big, all too big and bold and passionate. And then you'll come in, nail it, and then she'll show us what she did. That's how it normally
usually
goes
how-
when
that's
Sam
usually
brings
how
a
it
script in. Let's see if 2025 is any different, Sam. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? All right. Here we go. As we continue to explore, to expand, and to embrace the power of trusted partnerships, both within and beyond clarity, this is our promise. To be bold, to be passionate, to pioneer innovations that enable early detection, to provide our expertise to preserve in patients what makes them who they are. Because life-changing therapies are coming, and clarity will be ready. Oh, even I hated that end line.
That was... you lent into that end line, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I think I want to know. I really want to know what clarity is. What are they to be ready for?
I reckon it's a face cream.
You were delicate on your bold and your passionate, though, I thought.
Yeah.
Then
There
I
was a
ran out of
delicacy there.
breath
Yeah.
and had to
did
take
you?
a huge breath. But in the edit, I'd probably cut that out, though, before I sent it to them.
I didn't
you know?
really hear that. But I was just too bowled over by the fact that you'd underplayed bold and passionate.
No, I got to
Then
passionate.
it's all right.
It was like,
I thought you did a good job keeping the energy in it, because it's actually,
Yeah.
the first line it's very wordy, really.
Isn't
It
it?
is. It is.
Yeah.
wordy.
222. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
even a list of 222.
And the first sentence is two long lines in one sentence.
I thought it was quite a tricky script to make sound inspirational, if you know what I mean.
that's fair. I
you
think
know,
that's fair.
because,
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt a little bit conservative for me. but-
It's all kind of superlative words that you just hear in everything, you know.
yeah.
And the
Yeah,
trouble
yeah.
is, you put a superlative in every corner of every sentence and you lose all of them.
If there was a line of humour or a kind of hint of, not that it has to have irony or some kind of hook, but it's just words.
It feels a little bit serious, doesn't it? And I'm sure they're doing a very serious job, and they are.
Yeah.
But it just anyway. But that's we're pulling it apart.
I love that quote from you, Liam. It's just words. It's like, absolutely, it's just words. I love it. Now I want to see what you're going to do with those
God.
just words.
Yes.
Right, okay. As we continue to explore, to expand, and to embrace the power of trusted partnerships, both within and beyond clarity, this is our promise. To be bold, to be passionate, to pioneer innovations that enable early detection, to provide our expertise to preserve in patients what makes them who they are. Because life-changing therapies are coming, and clarity will be ready.
Ooh,
I like that.
I like the little grit in your voice. You've got
Yeah,
a kind
yeah.
of little. Yeah, I loved that.
When you went to be bold, to be passionate, to pioneer, what I got in my mind was a guy with a spade digging, here's the bold, here's the passionate, here's the... And I thought, oh, yeah, that's
Wow.
digging something out. I got a real visualisation there for some reason. I don't know why.
Where did that
That's
come
just
from?
me digging my audio grave.
I don't think it was bad in any way.
Oh no, I really liked it. I actually liked, because you're right. It was there is a tendency with the way it's been written to kind of go OTT with it, and you didn't.
Really, I didn't notice that.
It was a trap for you, Mark.
Thanks, and I fell right in it.
You fell right in it. No, and I think that's the thing with it, is that what you didn't do is do that. It felt quite grounded, which I really liked.
Apart from the last line, but you did go for it on the last line, and clarity will be ready. It's like it's some science fiction project.
How else can you read that?
Well, quite.
You could read it as a question, and clarity will be ready.
Clarity will be ready.
Will we?
I love that. Maybe not at the end of this corporate thing.
So I was just taking a drink of water then, and that was just.
Did you spit it everywhere?
I thought that was going to go everywhere. Clarity will be ready. We're not quite sure, guys. Maybe it'll be ready. John, is it going to be ready in time, love? Or
Don't ask John. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Blimey. Oh, go on. Show us what you did with it then, Sam.
Okay, right. As we continue to explore, to expand and to embrace the power of trusted partnerships, both within and beyond Clarity, this is our promise. To be bold, to be passionate, to pioneer innovations that enable early detection, to provide our expertise to preserve in patients what makes them who they are. Because life-changing therapies are coming, and Clarity will be ready.
It's almost a threat. Clarity will be ready there, isn't it?
Dun,
It's
dun, dun.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You took it far further downbeat than either Liam or I did.
I was down there.
It was a lovely pace, though. You took so much time over it.
Of course, what I could see, which you guys can, I know what the visuals are, of course. So I suppose I was kind of waiting. So I remember, because I did it 2-picture. Mm-hmm. So I kind of, on the umpteenth time of doing it, I kind of got into the rhythm of it. So yeah.
Not that this is, but you get really banal scripts, and they could be about anything, particularly if it's a commercial and it's like, come on down to Freddy's Windows this Friday, we've got 30% off, that kind of stuff. What can you do with it? You want to bring creativity and something a bit innovative, but it's so hard. You just got to get the job done and move on to the next one. And sometimes the scripts are really bland, and it's really hard. They're written with such a formula in mind from the copywriter that you can't even really break it. Especially if you've got lists in there.
Absolutely, and that they've been written to be almost middle of the road, so that everybody's happy with them. Both sides, or all the people involved, all the shareholders, everybody that got involved, is kind of broadly happy with this middle ground, as far as I can see them. But of course, when they're put against the music and put against the pictures, they do feel less clunky than they do on the page, I think.
Yes.
And you can sort of see what their vision is, if you like.
With commercial radio advert, you hear it when the copy is really well written. It really stands out.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ads at the moment that are on, and every time I listen, there's the Coleman's mustard one I listen to.
Yes, with where he's basting himself as a sausage. Yes, absolutely.
Every time I listen to it, that's just everything about it's just great. The copy and the voice, it's just brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it stands out because it's so much work has clearly been put into that.
Play, how do you say that? Well, it's worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts we've been working on, but we've changed names and some details to avoid copyright issues. And remember, you can find both the scripts we're using today in the show notes of this episode.
So, Liam, as we come to your script that has caused us
Sam,
quite a lot of worry.
Apologies in advance about this.
Tell us about your script, Liam.
So, this is from the first of 3, or a trilogy of audiobooks, and it's a fantasy Elvish book, so it's got its own kind of sub-language with all these crazy words in it and characters, as we'll find out. This character, who is the main character in this that we're going to do, was a minor character in the first book. And this American celebrity gave him this voice. So he has this voice. And then he obviously didn't want to do the trilogy spin-off series, but I got lumped with it. I got blessed with it. But then because it had been such a huge hit, and this character was kind of established, although he was a minor character, he's now the main character, and the whole trilogy is written from his point of view.
I understand what you're saying about it's inheriting a voice.
Yes.
But this is a piece of copy with so many odd names that will throw me.
Yes.
I'm not sure that I can get by that. If you are not into this world,
yes,
how do you get over that? How do you get around that? How do you get past that?
Yeah, the actual novels are brilliant stories. They're so well written, and it's a huge fantasy series. It's got, a big fan base, this. But it takes a lot of work to get inside of it. It's like Tolkien, it's got its own language and that. And there are pronunciation guides that the author has sent for how to say certain words and letters, and then there are made-up letters which are symbols which have a pronunciation.
Oh no!
But then even the author is not able to do it for everything, because some things there's no pronunciation for them. So what you have to do is you have to essentially make your own alphabet and your own dictionary and just remain consistent.
Is it even worthwhile us going through the pronunciations with you at this point, or is it a question of go for it, see what comes out?
I think go for it.
For a first read.
Yeah.
I suppose we'd have to ask, is he high status? Does he have a very particular kind of voice?
He would be the equivalent of somebody like a priest in society.
Okay.
So very, very well, so not given the news recently, but very well respected in terms of his hierarchy in society, but not very well paid.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I said to Sam earlier, if we were to swap out all of the names, like Zanarin, and put Smith, Jones, and really obvious kind of English words, so that you get the meaning and the flow there, that would help me entirely.
Okay.
But that is beside the point, isn't it? That's entirely beside the point of something like this.
Yes, I suppose so, yeah. I mean, the thing that takes the time with something like this is the pronunciation, because you say something and you get it wrong, and then you have to go back to your audio notes. So when did that last word come up? That came up 100 pages ago. How do I say it? And then go over it again,
How much to and fro on names was there?
I mean, there was no real communication with them on pronunciation. It was just a case of establish your own rules and stay consistent. Stick with it.
Okay.
There you go, Sam. Establish your own rules. Stay consistent. You can go first.
I haven't felt as nervous about approaching a script for quite some time. Oof. So, okay. Right. Punch it through, Sam. Good afternoon, dach'othala, I said. I saw Zanarin wince pointedly at my voice, which was harsh and gravelled, thanks to my surviving the sessiva when it swept through Lohaiso during my prelacy there. It mostly did not bother me, except when someone, like Zanarin, made sure it did. Good afternoon, Kelleher, said Vanessa. I apologise for dragging you down here, not nearly as elegant as what you were used to at the euthanasia court. What you were used to at the euthanasia court, I'm sure, but this really isn't a matter for the Ulyssinathian.
What a word! I mean, well done.
Ulysthenian, I don't know.
Wow.
Very good, very good.
I got the meaning of the story there.
I was panicking so much about the actual weird words that I'm not sure I got the sense of anything, really.
Oh, no, I think you did, actually.
Yeah, you did.
I certainly didn't get the difference in between the two characters. I think that's what I didn't get. Yeah. Amongst many other things.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because you see the words coming and your brain goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah. Getting the essence of it. Yes, of course, you've got to get them right. But actually, what's more important is that you honour the story anyway.
True.
So
that's right. And this is what they call, I think they call it a steampunk fantasy, is the hyper descriptive genre name. But it's all about relationships between people, like any good novel. I mean, there's dragons in it and stuff, but it's all character driven, and it's the relationships between people and place and hierarchy and status and things like that. And the words are just the unpronounceable words are just the technical things that get in the way.
Yeah.
You have to spend a day or two getting on top of that. And how do I say, if there's a capital U at the start of a word, that means that it's got to be pronounced this way.
Yeah.
Once you've got all that stuff, just like if you're doing a book which has, I don't know, let's say a French character and she speaks lots of French lines. If you don't speak French, you just got to get over that.
Yeah.
It's the story and the narrative and that's what's important to concentrate on, really.
I'm no less frightened now than I was before when Sam did it.
Because I was so effortless at it.
Yeah, I mean, you were.
I put the benchmark out there.
Right, I'm going to have a go, and I don't know how it's going to come out.
You're going to nail it. You always
forgive
do this.
me
You're
in
going to
advance.
nail it.
Oh, no, I don't think I will. Good afternoon, dach'othala, I said. I saw Zanarin wince pointedly at my voice, which was harsh and gravelled, thanks to my surviving the sessiva when it swept through Lohaiso during my prelacy there. It mostly didn't bother me, except when someone like Zanarin made sure it did. Good afternoon, Kelleher, said Vernazar. I apologise for dragging you down here. Not nearly as elegant as what you were used to at the Lohaiso court, I'm sure. But this really isn't a matter for the Ulysthalian.
Oh, very good. Well
very
done on the
good.
pronunciations. Yes, yes.
I mean, to be fair, I just went for what I thought it looked like.
You did really nice kind of character switches between the dialogue as well.
After the discussion,
Absolutely.
I thought that was really important to
Yes.
probably do that.
But because he's doing the first-person narration, you obviously made a decision not to use that gravelly voice as the first-person voice.
As the narrator, no, exactly, no, just as when it came out of his mouth. That was a decision that I made to do that. I don't know whether that's correct or not.
Yes, I mean that's exactly what I did. The voice that I gave him is completely unsustainable for a book in first person. So, and also it would be unsustainable for you as a performer, but also as a listener. You couldn't listen to somebody speaking like that the whole time, So I did it as dialogue. So it's character based. So when he's speaking to people, you get that gravelly deep voice. But then when he's thinking in his head or when he's describing stuff like most of the narration, it's just the narrative voice.
I'm so happy I guessed correctly.
Is your narrative voice your natural voice, or did you change it at all within it, as it were, to kind of give a nod?
My main voice for this is kind of RP, because the words are so dense. The language is so dense. Yeah. I think not that a lovely, soft kind of northern accent which is the best, obviously. Not that that wouldn't be confusing or anything. I think just as, not plain is the wrong word, but as clear and as neutral the narrative voice could be, so that all the other things can have the colour.
Yes.
Rather than me narrating like this and do you know what I mean?
A great day.
Yes, that's orc number 3.
I'm so sorry.
Liam, we need to hear how you did this.
Yes, for
because
sure.
I now just want to hear how effortless you made this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, dach'othala, I said. I saw Zanarin wince pointedly at my voice, which was harsh and gravelled, thanks to my surviving the sessiva when it swept through Lohaiso during my prelacy there. It mostly did not bother me, except when someone like Zanarin made sure it did. Good afternoon, Kelleher, said Vernazar. I apologise for dragging you down here. Not nearly as elegant as what you were used to at the Lohaiso court, I'm sure, but this really isn't a matter for the Ulysthalian.
Well, you make it sound so effortless, Liam. It's like that.
Yes, very effortless.
What we got, of course, Sam, was we got the full meaning of the story with all the names in there and the characterisation all in one beautiful bubble.
Absolutely, but a very delicate characterisation. That was the interesting thing. So what you didn't create, well, I mean, I don't know, but complete 360, completely change your voice for them, but you could tell which one was speaking.
It's set in the court. Well, a lot of it is set in the court, and in the court you've got the Elvish versions of the emperors and princes and their kind of entourages, and then you've got the equivalent of the the priest and the religious kind of hierarchy as well.
Yeah.
So you've got lots of high status people but doing different jobs. And it's that thing where you've got tiny variations of colour between them. It can't be so big that it's going to be off-putting to people, because then you will meet a street urchin on page 50, or you'll meet, whoever, the kind of street characters, and they'll need to be different again. Yeah. So it's more that a kind of voice or a kind of accent is associated with a level of status in society, like our own, really, I suppose, even though it's a made-up fantasy world. And just kind of trying slight colour and shape shifts.
Vanessa, he had this kind of lovely drawl. You made him, superior, that kind of drawly. You drew out the vowels. And yes, I really don't care about you particularly. I don't really apologise at all for dragging you down here. So it had a lovely feel to it. You got exactly what Vanessa, if that's indeed how you say his name.
Vanessa.
It gave me a vibe of Jeremy Irons in The Lion King as Scar.
I loved it.
Yes.
Evil almost.
There's lots of characters in it who I kind of gave a kind of, deep RP voice to. But it's the accent won't change, but the colour and the character of that voice might. So one might, like you say, be drawn out. And there's another character that comes in later on, and Zanarin, and she's a kind of evil character. And she's described as quite snaky. She's not described as snaky, but the way she's described, it made me think of a snake. So I just kind of elongated her S's a little bit, but a tiny hint of it,
Trust in me, yes.
Yes, yeah. Not as much as that, but just I almost didn't do it at all. I just think of it in the back of my head, and then it naturally comes out, that kind of thing.
Amazing discussion.
Yeah.
Good work, chaps. It was great.
Well, kind of. Good work, I think. It's like, let's head towards the wildcard bit of the show, shall we?
Yes.
Time to approach these scripts in a very different way.
So, Liam, can you pick one of the scripts and give one of us a new motivation or a character or something?
Okay. I'll be kind. Can you read script number 1 as if you are reading a children's story to a bunch of 5-year-olds in the style of Peppa Pig? So you are Peppa Pig.
Ooh.
And which one of us would you like to do that?
You, Mark.
Oh.
Yes. I've always wanted to hear Mark's Peppa Pig. Let's be honest about that.
Okay. Paw Patrol, yes. Peppa Pig, not so much. It's like, okay.
And that's just a starter.
Absolutely. As we continue to explore, to expand and to embrace the power of trusted partnerships both within and beyond clarity, this is our promise. To be bold, to be passionate, to pioneer innovations that enable early detection, to provide our expertise to preserve in patients what makes them who they are. Because life-changing therapies are coming, and Peppa will be ready.
It was just like a little burp. Your little snorts.
Snorting.
It was like she'd done a little belch. And that was so sweet.
Oh, I need to go back and watch more Peppa now.
Was that everything you hoped it would be, Liam?
Oh, and more, yeah. You send that off, you've got the gig. We were saying earlier on, there's something missing, there's some hook that's missing from this, and we didn't know what it was, and now we know.
Now we know.
Needed a few oinks in there.
Yes, it's the
It's
oinking.
all so clear now.
Oh, goodness me. All right, so, Sam, would you like to suggest one for Liam to do?
Yes. Well, actually, Liam, I'm going to give you your script because, of course, it will not worry you one bit to do your script. So I want you to be a knight in shining armour on a very frisky horse.
Okay.
Ooh.
Good afternoon, dach'othala, I said. Down, boy. I saw Zanarin wince pointedly at my voice, which was harsh and gravelled, thanks to my surviving the sessiva when it swept through Lohaiso during my prelacy there. It mostly did not bother me, except when someone like Zanarin made sure it did. Good afternoon, Kelleher. Down, boy, down there, said Vanessa. I apologize for dragging you down here. Not nearly as elegant as what you are used to at the Anthalanese court, I'm sure. Ooh. Oh! But this really isn't a matter for the Ulysthalian.
I love that. I mean, I could tell you were on the back of a frisky horse, that's for sure.
Oh, that frisky horse. Yeah.
You got me right at the beginning. It was like, way!
Yes, you set the scene from the first, I feel. That was completely different.
Oh, my word.
Well done.
Now, Samantha, a New Year treat for you.
Oh,
Because I'm going to give you
Mark.
script 2 as well.
Oh, I knew you would. Yeah.
But, remember how we were saying originally if you changed the names to Smith,
Yep.
Jones or whatever?
Yep.
I would like you, when you come across a word that is not an English word, where it's an Elvish word or an Elvish name, I would like you to substitute as if you had signed an NDA with the word XYZ.
You just want me to say XYZ?
Yep.
You don't
For
want me to
all
give it
of
a
those
different
names.
word?
No,
A different word.
XYZ for all of them. So it's like it's been redacted. But
Okay.
But I would like you to do it as a teenager who frankly doesn't give a toss.
Okay. All right, then. I can do that, I think. Well, I'll try.
I'm sure
I'll try,
you can.
You know. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good afternoon, XYZ, I said. I saw XYZ wince pointedly at my voice, which was harsh and gravel, thanks to my surviving the XYZ when it swept through XYZ during my prelacy there. Well, it mostly didn't bother me. Do you see? It didn't bother me. Except when someone like XYZ made sure it did. Good afternoon, XYZ said. XYZ. I apologise for dragging you down here, not nearly as elegant as what you were used to at the XYZ court, I'm sure, but this really isn't a matter for the XYZ.
12 out of 10. I thought that was phenomenal. That wasn't that good, Liam.
Brilliant. Outstanding. Outstanding.
Because interestingly, you got every beat of that story in there with the kind of couldn't care less attitude, and I don't think it took away from the story, the XYZs at all.
It was better. No, it wasn't.
I love that. Wow. Well, there's a thought for being able to practice scripts. And if you want to play along in the privacy of your own booth, as I said before, we've put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Yes, you can. Now, Liam.
Yes.
You, yes, Samantha. No. You narrate a wide variety of audiobooks. So what is it about audiobooks in particular that you find satisfying and why?
I love reading. I love... I mean, I say that I don't really read for pleasure anymore because there's no time, because it's all spent doing it during work. I love fiction, non-fiction, anything that's well written, and about subjects that I'm genuinely interested in. And I think audiobooks, if they're fiction, are a great way of just getting to kind of flex your character muscles. I mean, as an actor, you need to do that. I mean, COVID was so restrictive as actors. We're born to be on stage and to express and, communicate through arsing about on a stage, And when that's taken away, audiobooks are such a great medium for that.
Yeah.
From a non-fiction point of view as well, I mean, I can't say whether I like fiction or non-fiction. I try to do 50-50 fiction, non-fiction. I go through spells where I've done 6 non-fiction books, and I'm like, right, I need to do a fiction now. I need to do a novel or something. And likewise, if you do a run of fiction books, I'll try to throw some non-fictions in there as well. But the thing about them is they take so much time to make compared to other kind of voiceover work. They probably take up, in terms of all the audio work I do, not acting, but audio, they take up probably 80% of my time, but account for 50% of my audio income.
Yeah.
So they take up much more time and they pay less compared to commercial work, I suppose, if you were to extend it to 10 hours of commercial work. But they're so rewarding.
Also, if you're doing a non-fiction audiobook, actually the challenge is to make that feel really entertaining. to make
Yes.
that ping off the page, and so there is a kind of excitement in that as well. But then, there's the challenge of non-fiction I find quite exciting.
That's right. I mean, it's always got to be something that I'm interested in. I can't do it if I'm not interested in it. If it's non-fiction, I've got to be interested in it. And to a certain extent, I can kind of choose. I can't choose what I want to do, but I choose whether I accept it or not. And I'm booked quite far in advance, so I can kind of move things around to make sure that I'm working on things that I kind of enjoy.
What's the one piece of advice that you'd give to someone who would like to do audiobooks but hasn't really gone down that route? What's the piece of advice that you'd give them to practice or to try and get better at? What do you think?
Well, I mean, make sure you're happy in your own company.
Always useful.
And I think it was Sean Pratt said this. With audiobooks, the best thing to do is pick a book off your shelf. It doesn't matter what it is, just go and pick any book. In fact, if it's something that you're not interested in, that's even better. Pick something off your shelf, go and sit in your wardrobe or somewhere very uninspiring. If you've got a vocal booth, great, go and sit in your vocal booth and just read. If you haven't got a microphone, if you don't have access to that, or if you are a working voiceover, just hit record and read 30 pages, record 2 hours. Every time you make a mistake, go back, correct it, and carry on, and just record for 2 hours. And you will know within 3-4 hours, for free, if this is something that you want to do.
I know by the description that that's something I don't want to do.
But if people would spend thousands of pounds on training programs and online on courses on weeks without actually ever having done that, and they'd spend loads of money, and then they get into it and they're, oh my God, this really isn't for me. I can't do it. Just spend a Monday morning, put 2 hours in your vocal booth or speaking into your closet, and just read 30 pages of a book that you know nothing about, and just read it out loud.
Sam, isn't that great advice?
I think it's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely, and I do think I think you're right. You have to find that kind of shortcut to find out if you actually love reading out loud for that amount of time. It's a real, it's a real marathon doing a full book.
Completely. And that's without even thinking about the completely different technical approach that you need. Because you've got things like punch and roll and the different technical requirements that you use in audiobooks as opposed to commercial. I mean, I use a totally different stack and a different setup completely,
Liam, it is a fascinating discussion. Thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today. Liam Gerrard is amazing, and all his details can be found in the show notes.
And so can the scripts, the lovely scripts for practice.
So you can have a go yourself. Okay, that's it for this week. Thanks again to Liam Gerrard. We'll be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking, Liam, this is where we do it all together. We'll be asking, how
do you say that?
How do you say that?